So I so I'll be talking with Scott Thompson of CHML. We're going to be talking about Paul Logan. This is a YouTuber who went over to Japan to film someone's suicide in what's known as the suicide forest. Anyways, this guy makes millions posting all sorts of odd things, I guess, to his YouTube channel, and he's got millions of followers. So the question will be, parents, do you know what your kids are watching, and should they be watching YouTube? If time permits, I think we'll also be talking about adults, parents, and their smartphones. Are they addicted? So I'm just going to pause this for a moment and wait for the phone call from Scott, in which case we will start recording again, and you'll at least hear my side of the conversation. Okay, it's ringing. Let's see. Gary here. Good, Luke. How are you? I'm ready to talk to Scott. Okay, thanks. So now I have to wait for them to come back from break, so I'm just going to pause this for a second. Happy New Year, Scott. Great to be with you again. Good topics. Yeah, we are, and I don't know that it's going to happen anytime soon. It's the technology company's job to sell technology, to make money for its investors. It's the parents' job to parent and keep our kids safe, their kids safe. You know, no, I'm not surprised that we're asking for this, but Scott, let me give you an analogy. What parent, like Hamilton's a nice city, but no parent in their right mind is going to take their child and drop them in downtown Hamilton and drive away and say, we'll see you in a couple hours. Because you don't know what that child is going to get into. And it's not that Hamilton is a bad city, but there are bad things that occur in any city. And as soon as you sit a kid in front of a computer, it's the same thing. It's like you're dumping them in the center of a city and saying, fend for yourself, giving them the keys to the car. And so if we are not there to supervise, monitor, check in on what they are accessing, who knows what door they'll walk into, whether intentionally or unintentionally. If we could supervise them. So actually that hints at a broader question. And so my first comments, it sounds like I'm blaming parents. In this comment, I want to say that I'm not blaming parents. Our ability to supervise has been compromised over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We need to work more in order to survive. We need 2 incomes. If we're separated families, we typically need the income from both parents as well. So parents are less available to their kids, which creates the conditions where kids are left more to their own devices, literally. Having said that, there really is good software out there to better monitor and control children's access to the internet and the programs they view. I really don't have the answer to that. I don't think it's the parents' involvement with technology that determines their supervision of the children. I think it's their appreciation that your child sitting in front of a computer screen is giving them access to all the good and all the bad that our world has to offer. They have to appreciate that notion. Well, the internet is ubiquitous. We have it everywhere. We are all of us now reliant upon it for our communication, for our networking, for our sharing of information, for our access to information. And so it's everywhere. We can't, it's not a matter of turning it off anymore. It's a matter of using it, managing it, and using it wisely. Absolutely. Parenting is a verb. It's something that we, the adult, does in the care of our children. And, years ago, like the 1990s, first part of the new millennium, when I was doing my parenting seminars, I would talk about parental monitoring. And this is before the internet. So parental monitoring back then is knowing who your kids' friends are, knowing the parents of your children's friends, knowing how your kids spend their money. And the research told us that the more of those kinds of questions parents could answer with respect to their kids, their children tended to be better adjusted because the parents knew what was going on. And so these days, the same concept of parental monitoring, we have to get back in touch with it, because I think because of changes in society and the ubiquitous nature of the internet, we're no longer monitoring in the way that we have. And our kids are getting into trouble. So it's kind of like putting the genie back in the bottle. When the kid is used to going to downtown Hamilton unescorted, and now you say, wait a minute, there has to be a parent there. I have to know what you're doing. When are you going to come back? The kid's going to balk. They're going to protest. And so as we seek to, after the fact, put monitoring in place, our kids are going to object to that. And the message to the parents is, ride it out. Their objection doesn't make your parenting behavior wrong or bad. It just means the child isn't used to it. And so we do want to protect the kids, and we have to be able to withstand their pushback, because they are not going to, at their young ages, appreciate what's driving our monitoring behavior. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So in terms of our own behavior, we have to demonstrate to our children that we can turn off our devices as well. I challenge parents to do that in my parenting seminars. And let me tell you, there's always 10 to 15% of the parents there who refuse sneakily to not turn off the smartphone, right? Well, there you go. And then I go into a talk about anxiety, because it's their anxiety about, oh my gosh, what if my kid gets in trouble and I'm not available? That anxiety transfers onto the children, and then you have the child experiencing anxiety. So anyways, there are things, these things parents can do. Turn off your smartphone, turn off the devices when at the dinner table, require people to come back to the dinner table. There's an old-fashioned concept. And put some software on your kids' devices so that you can limit and monitor what they're doing. It's not good enough to say, I trust you. It's like putting them on a bus and hoping, what destination they're going to reach. Great to chat with you, Scott. Okay, so we didn't talk about the guy who posted crazy stuff to YouTube. You never know what's going to happen with a radio interview. But at least we still covered parenting and the internet generally. Hope this was of value to you. Take care. Bye now.